All right, I'm just gonna kind of walk through this Excel and try to point out a few pointers to hopefully help the process. Again, I recommend working in groups. Your numbers will be different, but the formulas should be the same. And we're just gonna go quickly through this. You can kind of rewatch the video. I've worked through some of the problems. Question A, you want to find the net present value of each of the streams of cash under good, medium, and bad conditions. And so that's what we have here in column E. The expected net present value then is the weighted, so the net present value times the probability of each of those added together. So that's pretty simple, straightforward. Number two is saying we can abandon the project after 1 year and receive $6 million in salvage value. Really, what we're doing here is finding what the net present value of each condition, good, medium, and bad, is if they continue the project for 3 years or if they abandon it after 1 year. And the company would choose the option that has the higher net present value in each scenario. And so my column E here doesn't match up, but I found the net present value of each scenario and situation. You'll notice here for medium, they still have a negative net present value, but yet they do the project for 3 full years. Why is that the case in my example? It's because the net present value, if they abandoned it after 1 year, was actually more negative than if they carried it on for 3 years. So while they lose money, it's still financially better for them to go for a 3 full years. Obviously, with bad, they're going to abandon it. Now, part C is more complicated, very much so. Here, the big thing to note is the project can be redone at year 3 if it's good, and or if it's profitable, I should say. Well, and if we look back, the only project or the only one that was profitable was in good condition. So we kind of have an idea here that if medium or bad, they're not going to renew the project. Now, the tricky thing with this is the risk-free rate comes into play. So they can do the reinvestment after year 3 at a 5% risk-free rate. And so we have our cash flows here that we're discounting by our weighted average cost of capital of 12%, but our reinvestment in year 3 has to be separately discounted at 5%. So if I click over here, I have my net present value calculations and minus our initial investment, and then minus the discounted cash flows of, or the discounted, or excuse me, the present value of that reinvestment year 3. So that $10 million investment divided by 1 plus my risk-free rate, which would also be B40. So I'm going to change that. B40 to the third power. So it could, because it's 3 years. And then I find my net present value there, and I weight it just the same as I have in the previous examples. Part D is saying there's no abandonment or additional growth opportunity, but we can delay the project 1 year. So we can wait 1 year to undertake that. Now, that means we don't have to make our investment until year 1 if we want to do the project. And I put this number, this negative 9.52 here in the medium category just for my calculations, because we need to have a 0 cash flow for our net present value. And so the net present value of this scenario is these streams of cash: 0 in year 1, 9, 9, and 9, with an initial investment in year 1 of negative 952. Why? Because we're discounting that the 10 million So our initial investment, and we're finding the present value of that. So that's 1 plus our risk-free rate to the power of 1. And we want to make that a negative. And I have it added in here. I have the present value of the cash flows plus this investment times our probability. Again, we need to weight that. Now, with medium and bad, we would, after a year, decide we're not going to make that investment. We have an idea of medium or bad. So this is probably, part D is the most complicated. Part E, I do not want you to do. So I will manually adjust the grades. We are not going to worry about the Black-Scholes model and the complications of that for this class. Hope this helps. Please work with a group on this and chip away at it.